All right. It's that time. It's time for Beyond Sight and Sound. Let's do this.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at XTREME Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. XTREME Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. XTREME Scoops' company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. XTREMEScoops.com. That's XTREME scoops.com. Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show. All right, we are back and we are live. Once again, you are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for all the really cool digging people out there. And unfortunately, we're getting into that time of the year where some of us are a little cooler than others, and not by choice. Not by choice at all. Either way, though, we are back. We're live. Welcome to everyone that's dropping in. Good show in store tonight. Links in the description. First and foremost, our friends over at Shooters and Prospectors. Chuck Smalley, the man with the plan, the dealer of choice, the multi-line dealer dealing in XP, Mine Lab, Note the Macro, Detector Pro, Garrett, and many, many others. Give the man a call. Our friends at DETECTEES.com, Ken, Mark, Darth, Buddy, and a gang doing a great job with the Beyond Sight and Sound apparel, Dirt Pirates swag, 413 Mass Digger, recently adding B3 Relic Recovery to the list. If you good folks follow him on YouTube, local digger here near me. The links to our friends at XP Team USA, Facebook group, website, and the Metal Detecting Podcast every other Friday right here on Spreaker, as well as the links for Metal Detecting NYC on YouTube, All Metal Militia on Facebook, Ohio Metal Detecting on YouTube. The Great Christmas Metal Detecting Giveaway for kids ages 5 to 15 Facebook group. We are still currently taking donations and got a lot of things going on there. Definitely. Barb should be having a package for me any day now for that, actually. And then also the I guess you could say the very important link for tonight's show and tonight's listeners would be CTTodd.com, where you can find all sorts of interesting information on what we're talking about tonight, as well as cleaning tips, photos of finds, advice on permissions, and things of that nature, which I do believe, yes, I did. Wow, check out the multitasking skills there. I was able to go ahead and get the link in the chat for those who don't already know, but obviously Todd is a great guest and a return guest here on the show, so many of you are already familiar with the link and know if you are a CTX, Equinox, or Deus user, it is a wonderful resource for settings for your machine. If you're looking for settings for your machine or even advice on your machine, I'm sure that there is a contact link on the website where if you have some questions that aren't addressed tonight, who knows, maybe you can even reach out to him and you just may be lucky enough to get a reply. Maybe we can even cover that, because we've got Todd on with us again. We've covered topics such as permissions, which was an excellent show, one of my favorites. We've covered the Deus, and tonight we've got him back to cover UK metal detecting. So let's get him in here too. How's it going, Todd?
Well, thanks for the introduction there. That was great. It's going well, and I very much appreciate being asked back.
Well,
thank you.
With all of the information that you always have, you're such a wealth of knowledge, and always very happy to share the information to those that are willing to listen.
I think you got to give back, and something that I truly have a passion for in life is metal detecting. And there's not much about it that I don't like talking about or doing. So I am always pleased to talk about it. The website you mentioned, it's there as a resource to Detectors. It does have some of my finds there, but just the cleaning section alone is not just my cleaning methods. There are guys that you've all heard of in the detecting community giving their take on how to clean finds. On all different ways. There's a guy doing peroxide, and there's a guy, doing other things. Dave Wise is on there, how he does his coppers. It's there as a resource, and that's what I intended. There's no advertising there. Just please go ahead and use it.
And the page on there for machine settings is also quite a nice resource too.
That I keep active. As I change things in my own setup, I will update the page. And of course, it does give a heads up. And if you really want to know the settings, go to Andy Savish's books on each of the different detectors and so forth. They're a great resource also.
That's a good point. I do have his handbook for the CTX, both his handbooks for the Deus, as well as his most recent handbook, the handbook for the Equinox, which was very well done.
I thought so. I don't think that the Equinox is a tremendously, complex machine. It's really a very good turn on and go machine. But there's certainly some of the settings there, that he delves into deeper than what the original manual does and explains, and certainly well worth having.
Absolutely. Even if a person is only using it just to look through, flip through the pages and see some of the finds made or even some of the other users' programs.
I love to try another guy's program every once in a while. See how it goes. It's one of the fun things about it. Now, with an XP Deus, of course, there's a million programs out there. It's such an
right.
such an adjustable machine. When you find something good and you post it online, about the third comment down is always, "What were the settings you were using?" And it's it's just fun. Just keep playing with it and go on back to that site that you thought you already had pounded out. Try a different program and give it a shot.
Right. I know that there have actually been a couple of listeners here on the show that they have referenced your page for Deus settings quite a bit. And it seems to work for them quite well.
It took me a while to get my current program on Deus, all the way to the point it's at right now, and it's a nice relic program. It does very well on deep coppers and relics. I wouldn't say it's a great program for a city park necessarily, but it certainly does a good job on an old site. And actually, at Pound the Ground, it was funny. Nokita or Nakata?
Nokta Macro.
Yeah, they had a hunt where they let everyone into a small area where they had buried nickels, tons of nickels.
Oh yeah, find the gold coin.
And find the gold. It was actually like a little gold bar that they planted.
Okay.
And I walked up to it just as it had completed, and I heard everybody yell, and I was talking to some fellas outside the fence, and the guy who won it came walking up with his Deus, and he had the brand new detector that he won under his arm, and he had the little gold piece in his hand, and he said, "I just want to say hello," and he turned his Deus to me, and he goes, "Look what program I was using when I found it." And he was running my relic program when he found the gold piece.
Well, that had to have been a compliment for you.
Oh, it was funny. Everybody's laughing. It was funny.
I'm sure that gave everybody a good laugh.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to him, because I knew of the hunt. I had seen a little bit of a go live about it and saw everybody in there going after targets, but I never did find out how that ended. So that was definitely a nice update. Good to hear.
Yeah, I walked up to it just as there was a lot of people in this little fenced in area. I mean,
there were.
It wasn't that big an area, and everybody was swinging whatever they brought, not just the units from the manufacturer there. And I heard a big yell, and of course everybody quit once the gold was found.
Right.
And it was just funny because we're standing there talking. So anyway, it was entertaining. Oh, I see Brandon's in the chat. I saw Brandon up at Pound the Ground. I hadn't seen him in at least 2-3 years probably since I saw Brandon.
Oh, yeah. So there's another good point about organized events. You can catch up with friends that you haven't seen in some time, or people that you communicated with on Facebook and never have had the chance to meet face to face.
Oh, it's I saw some complaints about who found what and not enough finds being made. I saw a lot of nice finds made. I didn't walk out of there with a copper, and a conversation that we had prior to Pound the Ground with guys was, do you really think that 1,100 guys are going to show up and everybody's leaving with a copper? No.
Right.
That's unrealistic. I don't care how many acres you have. It's just not going to happen.
Right. That many people, somebody's leaving a bit empty-handed.
Of course. I mean, I found a couple of buttons and a silver and turquoise ring and, some modern coinage. Indian head, and it was the oldest coin I found. But I had a great time because all the people that were there were tremendous.
That's what I say a lot of times with these organized events, or even the days where you and a couple of your buddies get out and dig. Maybe you don't find something, maybe you find a lot of great things, but in the end of it all, it's the memories. Diggers make the memories.
For sure. I'll tell you one thing I learned at that hunt. I didn't ever want to be a Hoover boy. Those poor guys had a cloud of diggers following them around the fields while they hunted. It did not it didn't look fun to me. I mean, everywhere they walked, a cloud of guys were following them.
Makes it a little difficult to have a good time that way some days, I'm sure. So note to self, don't put my application in to become a Hoover boy.
No, I enjoy their digs very much because they do the kind of same digging I do, which is mostly farm field digging. But I would not want to be that famous. Thank you.
Very understandable. Definitely. So, I guess for those who may not realize, let's give a quick rundown how many years you've been doing this, and then let's do some talking about hunting in England. All
right. I started 21 years ago now with a Father's Day, my first Father's Day, a gift from my wife, metal detector. Was bought from Gary Storm, who was the owner of Detector Pro, which was based in the town I grew up in, Pleasant Valley, New York at the time. So I grew up in a town that had Detector Pro in it my whole life, and I never knew anything about it until, I don't know, I was 30-something. But that's when I started, and I made my way through virtually all the Minelab land machines from that time. The first machine I had was a Minelab Sovereign, terrific machine, and worked up through the Explorers and E-Tracks and Pros and, CTX in the end. And now on to the Equinox is my last current, one of my current machines. About 5 years ago, I picked up on XP Deus and really enjoy XP Deus as well. And when I go to the fields, like yesterday, got out on a hunt with a couple of guys, and I cart both machines with me every day and that I hunt. And it just depends on what I feel like when I pop the door open on the truck as to which one I'm going to hunt. They're both very, very good machines that'll get the job done. And, I don't know, I go back and forth on those two machines mostly at this point.
Right. So the CTX is kind of taking back seat now a little bit.
I sold my CTX.
Oh. So yeah, it's taking back seat all right.
It's gone. Yeah.
For me, the CTX has some nice features and everything, but it's just cumbersome. Once you swing a Deus or even an Equinox, now you've got two machines that combined probably don't weigh as much as the CTX did.
That's a big factor for me. I'm not a beach guy or water hunter. And I do have, between an E-Track, SE Pro, and a CTX, I have a right shoulder that just will not put up with weight. And to be honest, if I got to wear harnesses and so forth to swing a machine, I just went the other direction. I went XP Deus, especially for England, like we're going to talk about here in a minute, because of the sheer hours involved in the English hunting. And I knew that swinging a CTX for me with my physical shoulder problem at this point wasn't going to work, and I certainly wasn't going to give up metal detecting. So I needed to do something about it. I did the Deus for a couple of years exclusively, 3 years exclusively, and then the Equinox came in after that, and I've been very pleased because I do like hunting a machine with a threshold. There's a lot of information there, and
there is.
I've always been a Minelab guy. But to be honest, when I do open the door on that truck, I may take either machine, but most of the time, still for me, the Deus comes out of the truck first.
Right.
That's just where I am at the moment, but It could change. We'll see.
Well, and I assume since you cart them both around with you in the truck, most likely when you're hunting in England, you travel with both, because that's a long way to go to have a machine break down.
I travel to England with both machines. I travel with both machines with multiple coils.
Nice. So I guess first off, I mean, we all hope to make that great find while we're over there in England. But I guess this would be a great point to mention. How do you travel to England with your detectors and coils?
Okay. Well, when you're going to go to England, your planning basically starts a year in advance, because, and everything I'm going to say about England is my experiences hunting with the Colchester group. Okay. I can bring a group of people with me to Colchester, and we stay in what's called a barn. I am one of, currently there's 5, I believe, besides myself, barn leaders. That's a person who's authorized to bring a group with them to Colchester hunting. When I say we stay in a barn, it's not a barn, it's a big house. They just happen to call them barns. And we plan about a year out. Now, we're set to go again in March this coming year. Trip is full. There's 6 people going plus myself.
So normally there's 7 people in a group?
Normally there's 7 in a group.
Okay.
Last year I squeezed it a little bit and did 7 and me, but it just makes travel in the van and everything very compacted. And you don't want 7 people or 8 people in an 8-person van. You want to have a couple less than that, or at least one less than that, just for sheer space.
Right.
In the van. But so we start planning about a year out. Next March, end of March, when we get back from being in England, we're going to start talking about Colchester 2021, and we'll start putting that trip together. We buy our airline tickets usually around June, July, somewhere there, before the prices start to steadily creep up as you get closer and closer to your fly date. So we look for a low point in tickets, and we buy our tickets, and we all decide when we're going to meet up in England at Heathrow. Okay. From Heathrow, we all meet in the morning on the prescribed day, and we all get in a van, and then we drive to the barn, which is about an hour and 50 minutes from Heathrow, up to Colchester. We do all of our shopping that day. We don't hunt that day. We just do all of our shopping and getting ready and, setting your gear out, putting it all together. Everybody shows up with their detectors and various levels of being taken apart and need to be put back together. And your question initially was, how do I get my detectors there? Well, 2 ways. I carry a XP Deus because of how easily it comes apart. As you know, I carry that in a backpack right on the plane as carry-on.
There you go.
We have never had a problem getting through customs on either end with our Deuses right in the backpacks. And I mean, like 6 of us at a clip coming through LaGuardia or Heathrow. They don't even look twice at them.
Just as a quick side note, do you guys cover the LED lights on your coils, or you just leave them out there flashing in the open for them to see, and that gives them no problem?
Well, we've never had an issue. We don't cover them. You know, the coil is shoved down in the backpack. I don't think they're even, cognizant of the blinking light. I could see where that could be a cause for something, but we've never had a problem. So
nice.
Those machines we generally do in our backpack, just in case you had a baggage issue. you could hunt in England at least waiting for your bag to show up the next day if there were a problem.
That's a very good point.
If you have a detector. So, that's how we carry the deuces. CTX was a bit involved when I was carting that over there because, as you know, CTX does not break down very small.
No, that lower shaft is a little cumbersome to travel with.
Yeah, I cut mine off a little bit. I'm not the tallest guy. I'm 5'10". I did cut a little bit of shaft off of my CTX originally, just to take another 2 inches out of it and made it fit in the bag. But that one always got checked. That unit always got checked.
Right.
So then we're, as I was saying, we're over to Heathrow and we're all in a van and off we go to heading our way to Colchester. And we usually go straight to the barn, the house we're going to stay in. And we unpack pretty quickly, throw stuff in rooms, see who's going to sleep where. And then we go grocery shopping for the week. And how it works in my barn, at least, and again, I can only speak for how I do things.
Right.
But we have, we run a cold breakfast. Cereals, that type of thing, toast, whatever it is you want. Plus, of course, the guys are making coffee and so forth in the mornings. We get up about 6:15. We do our breakfast things. How early you get up depends on how, some people are quick in the morning and other people are slow. So we start. Most people are getting up around 6:15. We want to be in the van pulling out of the driveway at 7. That's how we arrange it. So you get up, you come down. Usually everybody gets up the same time. By 6:30, everybody's downstairs. And we're making our breakfasts and having coffee and talking about where we're going. Once everybody's made their cereal or whatever it is they're having for breakfast that day, then we use the second table, and out comes all the bread and the cold cuts and that type of stuff, and everybody makes a lunch.
So it's time to pack lunch, too.
Yeah, you're going to pack lunch because you're going to be in the field all day. And everybody makes a lunch, and, usually everybody makes a couple sandwiches, some 3, whatever, but you write your name on the baggie, and they go in this big cooler that we carry with us every day. And then, everybody's back to their rooms, usually getting dressed in whatever it's going to be for the day. You're looking out the window and seeing what it's going to do on us. One side note is you never go anywhere without rain gear. I don't care what it looks like outside, and I don't care what the weather report was. England is an island. It's going to rain. It's going to rain sooner or later. There's no ifs and ands or buts about it. And when you're out on one of these big fields and you see the big black cloud coming and you look at the distance between you and your rain gear and the van, you know you made a mistake.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine it only takes once or twice to learn your lesson with that.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a cloudy day where they've said it's going to rain, then you hunt in rain gear.
Absolutely.
You don't even try to pull it off without the rain gear. And people usually learn their lesson on their first trip about rain gear. If you buy the frog togs or some other type of really basic rain gear, which I understand is affordable, you're going to pay a price when the butt comes out of it, or
right.
It's
they are very lightweight,
rain.
very compact, but they're pretty much disposable.
Yep. So decent rain gear. So out we go. We've got all these fields to hunt. We've had a discussion the night before about where we're going to go, and we drive to the field, and everybody pops out. We get our equipment going. We hide the key to the van somewhere so that anybody can come back to the van anytime they want. And off we go. Everybody gets out to go hunting, and we come back to meet at noon at the van. Now we all carry walkie-talkies so that we can talk during the day, because you make a nice find, everybody likes to chat about it for a moment. What else? Let's see. We make a decision at the noontime break whether we want to hunt the rest of the day right there, or we want to go to a different farm, or just even a different field that the same farmer owns, or a different farmer. So the days are based on half a day. What you do is, let's say, how it works out, and the reason it's run this way by Colchester is the farmers get paid for us to be at the fields,
Right.
and it's based on a half a day at a time. It's if we're on, let's say, Guy's fields, the name of the farmer being Guy, or just an example, we can hunt on any of his fields for that half a day. At the noon break, we have to decide, are we going to continue on this farm owned by this farmer, or are we going to go to a different farm and hunt those fields for the other half of the day? But that's how that part of it is done.
Makes sense. About how many acres does the Colchester Club have access to for these barn hunts?
Well, I wouldn't know the acreage, but they claim on the website, and I believe it would be true, that there's 500 fields to choose from.
Wow.
And if you'd ever seen the books of fields that we choose from, I would say it's correct.
That's a lot of ground to cover.
It's incredible. It really is. And usually, especially somebody new coming along, they'll ask you, well, you're hunting the same fields that the guys hunted last year. And, yeah, you are. And the year before, maybe. And maybe even 10 years before. But the point is that England field hunting is quite different than hunting here. You've got almost 3,000 years of habitation on these fields.
Right. It's never going to be completely hunted out.
It's not even going to get close. They plow for carrots and potatoes and onions, and these are the fields that we're in, and these are items that you plant that need to have fluffy, well-tilled soil. So they deep plow these fields. And if you've ever seen, everybody wants a silver hammered coin of some form. I mean, that's one of the top things people want to find. They are miserable little targets. If they are not up towards the top in the soil, you're just not going to hear them. This year, maybe they're a foot and a half down the ground, and there ain't a machine out there that's going to touch it. Especially some of the small ones, maybe a big groat or something you'd have a shot at. But the little ones, they could be down out of sight for 5 years, and then on the 6th year, they're only 3 inches down or something like that. And then you'll hit these, and you'll hit these other relics, these Roman coins and so forth. So we have no problem with hunting these fields, and they continue to produce and produce and produce.
Nice.
Today, I saw a post today. Gold coin was found today by Sal Gattuso, who also runs hunts over there in England. And Sal got there today. First full day of hunting was today, and he hit a gold coin in a field that I know they've had for over 10 years.
Nice.
So,
got the monkey off the back right away.
Absolutely. Fantastic. It's just terrific hunting over there. But I want to answer questions that you have. instead of me trying to remember everything while I'm rambling along here. Because
Right.
I'm glad to answer anything you might have, or anybody else if they want to write in.
Well, I guess first off, for some people, they're probably kind of curious about what sort of a financial investment are they looking at if they were to try to travel abroad to hunt in a, say, like your barn hunts.
Okay. This year, my barn hunt is $1,850. I don't try to make anything on the hunts at all. I'm just doing it as a group of friends going to have a detecting adventure. Full disclosure is that I do get my payment worth for Colchester hunt is free. I bring 6 people with me, and as barn leader, my hunt is not charged. I still have to pay all my food and my share of transportation and all those things.
Right, airfare, things like that.
Oh, of course. But my hunt is 8 days. We arrive on a Friday morning. We do all our shopping. We start hunting on a Saturday, and we hunt 8 days straight, and we leave on Sunday.
And I imagine this is sun up to sundown hunting. Basically.
It is unless things get nasty out there, which, is
always a possibility.
Sometimes it unfortunately rains sideways in England, and we have arrived in England to find 8 inches of snow on the fields. And by the second
pack
day,
for any condition, basically.
Yeah, I can go down a list of what we bring with us, but once the snow melts, it's very clay based, at least around Colchester where we are. Then you have mud, and you have mud that sticks on the bottom of your boots to 2 or 3 inches, and on the bottom of your coil, and it cannot. At times, it can be pretty tough at times.
Right. We've got a caller on with us, Todd. How's it going, Fred?
Hey, how's it going, Josh and Todd? It's good to see you on the show.
Okay.
I wasn't aware that you ran trips to England, but it sounds very interesting, and I had a few questions about that.
Sure.
One of my questions was, is it, it's kind of like you hunt colonial up in New England and everything. And the one question I had was, is it a non-renewable resource? But it sounds like you are of the impression that it's a renewable resource because it keeps coming up with the plowing, I guess, from 3,000 years of habitation. So you're not really worried about that. Plus you're doing a possibility of 500 fields, which is an incredible array. How do you make a decision to hunt a certain area? Is there any research involved, or is it people that you talk to, or it's just a gut feeling, or what, when you go to Colchester and you have 500 fields to pick from?
Well, Colchester runs an internal forum that only members have access to, and we're basically told where things are being found, and you watch the weeks previous to when you get there. But there are also certain fields that are known for certain types of finds, and there are some hoard sites which continue to give up coins and relics. You've got fields that are good for Roman. You've got fields that have a known gold hoard on them, or silver hoard, or Roman silver hoard, or anything. They found Bronze Age axe heads in a hoard, all in a pile.
Well, you have Celtic finds too, unless that's not in that area of England. I don't know.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
what I don't know about England.
Yep.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And you're dealing with the antiquities rule that they have over there, right? Where you have your finds reviewed by a person that reviews them and puts a value on them or whatever, and
you have
takes them to a museum if they have to, right?
All the finds, everything over 50 years of age has to go through the process. They get submitted to a finds liaison officer, who goes through all the finds and essentially okays them for export. I don't have my finds right now for last spring yet. I should be getting them in the probably next month they'll arrive. That's about when they usually show up. But they've gone through the process. Now, this year, I found 2 Roman silver coins that have to go through the process because it was part of a previously reported hoard on that field. So those coins have to go through a further process instead of just being checked out that there's, it's special to us what we found, but it's not necessarily of national importance or historic importance to England to the point where you would have to, either donate it or it would be assessed and you would get half of what it's worth, and the landowner would get the other half, and the museum would display the piece, take the piece.
So the landowner is cut into the whole action there.
By law.
You pay him.
Yes, by law.
Okay.
Yeah, which is
all right.
great.
Yeah, I was looking.
It's fair.
Yeah. Well, it makes them want to have people hunting because it could be a source of revenue for them.
It makes
they find a hoard or something.
They want somebody on there who's also going to be fair with them also.
Right.
I don't want to throw any stones, but a lot of the locals don't report anything.
Right.
Where Colchester Group reports everything. And I do mean everything. If you find a 4-hole pajama button, it's going through the process. Which is nice. I like to do things the right way.
Well, they're honest, so that's good to deal with honest people. The other question I had, which doesn't relate to the actual mechanics of running it and everything, you watch like the Detectors and you see how possessive they are of their fields. Do you run into any kind of resentment from the Brits with, saying you Americans are here hunting our stuff, get the hell out of here or something? Is there anything like that? Like, have you ever encountered anything like that?
I haven't run into it personally, but yes, that feeling is there with some. I've seen it posted places. I've seen them talk about it. One thing that there are some cultural differences. You know what a peace sign looks like with your fingers? Well, in England, with it turned around the other way, it means quite another thing. And one guy was talking about all day long, people were giving me the peace sign as they went by. They were giving me the peace sign, and one of the guys that's been there a bunch said, that isn't a peace sign.
Yeah. Okay. So
somebody had to enlighten him.
I can tell you for sure that the restaurant owners and the motel owners and the places we frequent are quite pleased that we're there. And the farmers are very pleased that we're there because they get paid every single day that we're on their fields. And, it does add up. 6 of us at a crack adds up.
Yep, and they have a narrow window for you to be on their fields before they plant them, right? I mean, that's why they're in March. Because they haven't planted their fields yet? Yeah.
Right now, the last group of the year just started hunting. First full day was today. And they'll hunt until next week. And that's the last of it for Colchester for the fall hunt season.
Okay.
And then we start again at the last week of February and go for about a month and a half there. It's after crops and before crops. You're exactly right.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't heard you say a number yet or anything, but what does it cost to go on such a trip, if I was to think about it for next year?
My hunt, it depends on the cost changes, but my hunt this year was $18.50 for 8 days of hunting. It includes all breakfasts, all lunches, and 2 dinners while we're there. The other dinner nights, we all agree on where we're going to go, and we go eat locally. They have Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, local fish and chip places. We always hit the local chippy. We always do.
How is the local food?
Chinese.
Is the local food decent? I never heard any raves about English food, but they're pretty basic on their types of food, right? have like,
I'm gonna.
I don't know what it's called.
You're gonna get me in trouble here, but.
All right. No, you don't have to. I don't want you in trouble.
I don't think. Oh, somebody's gonna yell at me.
I mean,
I don't think
I was in
a
England
decent
once,
meal
so.
in England. How about that?
Okay,
they serve green peas for breakfast, and you you can have them two ways, either regular or smashy with your eggs. I mean,
oh boy,
I can't imagine that there's any fat people in England. There must be there somewhere, but oh my God.
Well, the beer's good though, right? But you got to drink it warm.
I can't speak to that. I haven't had a drink in 30 years, but
oh, okay. Well, all right.
The guys do say the beer is good. So.
I have heard it's not bad, and my apologies. Chuck tried to call in, and I missed his call. If he wants to call back, we'll get him in.
Well,
but
Chuck certainly has experience, because he was just there.
Right, and using quite a pricey swizzle stick for his drink.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That did you see that, Todd? That gold thing that they found or whatever. Now that's something that's staying in the museum, correct? It sounded like it was very valuable.
Not necessarily. It depends on whether it gets judged that it's of significant treasure, or it's not necessarily staying. A single gold coin is not a Treasure Act item that's going to be taken from you.
Right, you never really know until they tell you for sure.
Right, a hoard of coins is a completely different thing, and that may be purchased. But a single coin doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be something that you have to give up.
Right, we do have Chuck on with us now, too, so he can answer your question about the drinks, Fred.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Fred.
Hey, congratulations on that gold coin you found. That was wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
That, so.
Yeah, well,
that made the whole trip worthwhile, I guess.
Oh yeah, anytime you get a gold of any kind, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I haven't found too much gold, but I found the gold ring, and I was pretty happy about that. But and that other piece that you had pictures of, was that in your group? That weird.
Yes, that was the first morning, right out of get-go. Dave out of California found that, and it was laying on the surface. He saw it.
There you go.
He saw it when the coil went over it.
Wow, that kind of answers. That's probably got plowed up. Probably is exactly what happened.
It broke. It was broken, so it wasn't the full torque. If it's a neck torque, it'd be about another 4 or 5 inches. If it's a waist torque, there's another maybe 20 inches laying in the ground down there somewhere.
A waist torque.
I never thought I would see a piece like that.
Yeah, that's incredible. So
it is.
Yeah,
incredible.
I was just. It sounds like a wonderful experience, and the cost is really not that crazy. I mean, when you think about it.
No, it's not.
Does anybody bring their wife? Or that's verboten, or a particular other person, because they might drag the whole thing down. They go like solo mostly.
It was basically I went on my own. Where you go on these, and I don't know how Todd's barn runs. You detect, unless it is something just short of a complete nor'easter hitting you. You're in the field.
Correct.
Right. You'd probably be dragged down by somebody who doesn't like to detect. They'd want to be doing other things, and you'd have a conflict. I don't see how that would work.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't see how it could. Because my wife wants to go to England, but she wouldn't want to go on this. She'd be like, "Oh, you're detecting?" So, I can understand that it's sort of like a solo thing, But and there's a good reason for that, because not everybody's going to have the same interest.
Hey, you never know though. You make that one right find. And if there's a disbursement issued that you split with the landowner, maybe it's nice enough that you can tell the wife, hey, let's go back to England.
Yeah, well.
Right.
Well, the first trip I went on was with my lab, and we were up quite a ways from Colchester. We were at Detectable. And my God, they hit the fields en masse, and not knowing at that time what I know now, I found things. I got a Roman fibula and some greenies and things like that, but my wife was along, and we toured. She's a Downton Abbey fan. Well, the hotel that we were staying in was built around a 1490 castle, and it was used in Downton Abbey, and she was in Seventh Heaven. And after everybody left, we stayed a week more. We went to Stonehenge. We toured. She got to go to Churchill's Castle there and all that stuff. But I talked to the hotel. They had 700 acres there, and they gave me sole permission to go out anywhere I wanted except the greens on the golf course and detect. And I was finding stuff in the afternoons. So it worked for both of us. But on a hunt like a barn hunt, you're out there to detect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could see that being the sole purpose of the trip. And you're not going to mix it up with anything else. You're not going to be a tourist. You're going to be a detectorist. So, well, I think my questions have been answered, and I'll let you talk to Todd. I think it's a wonderful thing, Todd, and I admire your all your posts and everything. I still use your programs. I had one other question for you specifically about Deus. I just bought a X35 11x13 coil.
Yeah.
Is there anything I should change in my settings for that coil, or is it just go run with it?
No, it'll run exactly the same as the 11.
Okay.
Not a problem.
I had a 9-inch high frequency, and I went to this because I don't know. It just seems like that spread of frequencies. Do you find that there's a certain frequency that you kind of use, or are you just trying to check around through the range of them to see what works best for you?
I generally stick with my program at 8 kilohertz. But yesterday, as a matter of fact, we were at a site where 8 kilohertz was almost unusable due to some power line problems in the area. And I ended up going up to 25, and it was clear as a bell up there, and dug for the rest of the afternoon at 25 kilohertz. So
nice.
Okay, I've been experimenting with it. I only used it for an hour, so but I won't drag you down with that. I'll let you keep talking about your UK stuff, and Chuck. I don't think I'll have a chance to listen anymore, but you have a good show, and Josh, it's good to talk to you. And I'm going to hang up now. I'll let you guys talk.
You too.
Right?
Thanks for the call, Fred.
All right. Have a good night,
Fred.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, well, Chuck has had some experience hunting over there in England too, so I'm sure he can definitely relate with some of the information that you're sharing, Todd.
Oh, that's good. I knew he was over there. I keep up on the forum, as I'm sure he does.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have trouble with that forum. The login's always screwed up on it for me, and I got to change it.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had a problem with that logging on.
We'll get that ironed out.
It will toss you out if you don't go in every. Got to go in every 30 days or 60 days at least.
30.
Go in. Yeah.
You got to go in 30 and make a comment or post or something, and
otherwise it'll toss you.
Go from there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, with Chuck being on here as well, maybe this is a great time to bring up what can people expect? Say that they do find that just phenomenal find that is going to go in front of the Board of Inquiry and possibly be deemed as treasure, and then the museums get a grab at it. How does that whole process work?
Well,
go ahead, Todd.
First of all, it has to be something, a single gold coin is not treasure trove. A group of coins found on the same field becomes a hoard, and that is treasure trove, and let's put it this way. Everything goes through the process that is over 50 years old. Everything. But things that may be looked at for purchase by the British Museum, are, hoards, relics of significance, that type of thing.
Rare items.
Work.
Right.
But they're not going to just take it from you either. It goes to an independent appraiser. They decide what it's worth, and then you get paid for it based on that appraisal. And you get half, and the owner of the land gets half. And it's a law. I mean, that's how it works. It's not a tremendous problem, in my opinion. I would love to have something in a museum.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
As long as it was going to end up, for display and not in a drawer somewhere. I'd rather have it where I can look at it if they're just going to put it in a drawer. But the Colchester Museum in Colchester has a lot of finds from over the years that the guys have found on these digs for Colchester detecting. Chicago Ron's got a bunch of things in the museum up there.
He does.
In fact, he just found a coin that he offered to the museum to have.
Yes, he did.
Were you there, Chuck, when he found that Saxon coin?
Yep. I was there, and it's maybe the only one known at this time.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but it's a penny. It's a hammered, and the one side has never been seen with the interwoven snake on the back.
Did you have that in your hand, Chuck?
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool.
Yep, and the torque and some other stuff. And I do know one thing on the gold coin. If it comes back to me, I have the right to accept it. The landowner then gets paid half the value of the gold weight of the coin. I have to buy my half of that gold off the landowner.
Right.
Which is fair. And the torque, I don't think Dave will see that torque again.
Well, it's a good thing he got pictures.
Oh, we had a lot of fun with the torque.
Oh, yes, you did.
It was something to hold in your hand. It's something that's 3000 BC.
Right. Yep.
Roman made, and the workmanship was phenomenal in the gold. And, Todd, I don't know how many trips you've made over there, and probably a lot of them being one of the barn leaders. And the things that come up into your hands, and it's phenomenal when I'm digging up 50 caliber machine gun bullets and finding chunks of World War II aircraft aluminum in the field too. And it makes you stop and think what was going on in the skies in 1939 over England.
Those 50 cows sound pretty good at about a foot too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do. But it made me stop and think. My dad served World War II. My uncles, my aunts were in. I mean, everybody went. My dad's first cousin was killed on the Arizona, and that entire family went to war. And what all happened there? So you're picking up things from that war in your hand. You're thinking, wow.
Absolutely. My great uncle flew fighter planes out of Pearl Harbor with Jimmy Doolittle.
Wow. So the history, and as you're saying, Todd, of how many thousands of years and how many people and things went on and villages and houses came and went that they know or don't know about on these huge fields out there. And like Todd's telling you, and I recommend this trip to anybody that can go out and still walk for about 8 hours a day with a detector in hand. And now nobody's there cracking the whip on you. If you feel like sitting down, sit down. That kind of stuff. I went over, we got hit by a rainstorm. It was coming in sideways with 40-mile-an-hour winds. There was this huge oak tree. I went over on the leeward side, sat down, and just waited it out, and then went back out.
Right, it's your money. Spend it how you want.
That's why the van sits there all day.
The van was over a mile away.
Right, but if you want to take a nap or something,
it was walk in it or just get behind this big old oak and relax.
Right. And I do recall seeing, that's been a few years ago, but I do recall seeing pictures of Ron just, okay, it's time for a nap. I'm just going to sit down right here in the field and take a nap.
Yeah.
There's a picture on my website of one of the guys. I titled it "Dirt Nap," and he's just laying in the dirt in the middle of a field, out cold. And I definitely,
it is what it is. If you got to kick back for a while, kick back. I saw many different detectors being used: the 3030, the DES, 600, 800, and I will say this much: the 6 and the 800s that week got all the gold, and we recovered 4 golds that week.
Which is a good question. What machines do you normally see on your barn hunts, Todd?
Same thing. I mean, the guys are hunting CTXs. They're hunting both Equinox models. They're hunting the DES. I've had AT Pro on the hunt. I had a T2 on the hunt. Those are just the ones off the top of my head.
Right, so fairly similar.
I mean, a realistic week over there, without... One problem you can have is a guy that watches 100 videos from England before he goes and has just decided that, because the videos I watch from England, that the guys find 27 hammered coins in a week, and, they get these expectations. I mean, realistically, I usually find somewhere between 3 and 10 hammered silvers for a week of hard hunting. I mean, we hunt. We're on the field every day, usually by 8 o'clock at the absolute latest, usually by 7:30, 7:45. And we'll hunt until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right on through. And you do it every single day. I mean, even a fun hobby, when you hit that 4th or 5th day, you start to think, do I have a job doing this, or what's the, it can get your attention after a while. Man, I'm really swinging. And, you start to curse buttons. There's a lot of buttons over there.
And a lot of lead.
In the ground, and a lot of little pieces of lead. And if you think you're going to cherry pick England, you are mistaken.
Absolutely.
You're not coming home with hammered silvers if you think you're cherry picked. That's just going to be another little piece of lead, or that's because those little buggers, those hammered coins, those hammered silvers, which everybody loves, are some tough little targets, man. And
I did not get a hammered silver. I got milled silvers. I got 5 of those. I got 2 Roman bronzes, very deep. I got the gold coin. I got a jeton. We got
the coin weight.
I
don't know what all I got. I'm standing there. I'm asking them questions, and they're telling me different things what I'm finding. But I'm like, wow, the variety is amazing.
I have managed to get out of there without a hammered coin in a week. I did terrific on other relics and stuff like that, but I did manage to get out of there one year without a single hammered coin. And it's just, you got to put your coil over it, and you got to put your time in. I have saved my week on the last day in literally the last hour, and I've done it twice on these hunts, to where the thing I really liked was pretty much the last thing I dug on the last day. And it's just, we try to pick, I especially, because I'm just not an open market for going to Colchester. I mean, generally my guys are, 4 of them will be repeat guys, and 1 or 2 will be newbies in a year. And the newbies we pay attention to very much, because there's nothing worse than someone standing around moaning after 2 days that I haven't found anything and this isn't working, and that there's nothing worse for the group than having to listen to that. And
so we are
really picky about having realistic expectations of what you're going to find and being a group player.
Right, aspirations, not expectations, and maybe even taking them to the side under your wing a little bit and saying, well, why don't you try these settings?
Well, it's not just settings, but I have had people off to the side and said, look, you're 2 days into this and you are already saying this is not going to work and nothing's going good and blah, blah. And you're just going to have to suck this up and figure this out because we're going to hunt the next 7 days or 5 days, whatever it is. And you're going to either come along with us or you're going to stay at the barn all day. Your choice. But I suggest you work on this and hang in there with us. And usually they come around, and one guy ever since that talk has been doing fine and has come with us twice more. So, it's usually a little too much YouTube before showing up that gets the expectations a little whacked out of line. I should have had a gold coin by now. I heard that once. I loved that one. That was good.
Right, like it's just going to show up there for you since you made the trip.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The thing about that, the gentleman that found the torque and at the last day, about the last hour he hunted, he got a gold bullhead 1810 full sovereign. I don't know. Beautiful coin. I've got it up. I got a video of him with him. We weren't that far apart. On Thursday, he was complaining about his Equinox. He had a 30-30 with him. He started complaining about the Equinox. I'm going back to the 30-30, and I said, how long you had the Equinox? He said, I ran it a couple hours before I came on the trip.
Oh.
So I sat down with him. I programmed him up on what basically I was using, and I said, listen to it. It'll tell you in this. You're in a 5-tone. You don't want a 50-tone. Listen to the 5-tone. And it'll kind of tell you. An hour after I did that morning, he bangs that.
Nice.
So,
and that's a very good point, too. I don't care if it's a barn hunt, the UK trip, Detective-all, another organized event. Don't buy a machine and put just a couple hours on it and think you're good to go. Take a machine that you know, or put the time in with the machine so that you do know it before you go.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. There's guys unpacking brand new stuff sometimes. Not on mine. Not on mine.
And he's complaining about the 30-30 being too heavy for that long hours. I said, use a 600. And he asked a couple questions, and I told him what to do with that. And I didn't tumble on the fact. Finally, I asked him, how many hours you got on this? 2.
Oh, boy.
So, and like you said, Todd, I recommend it to anybody that thinks that they can go out and spend a day in the field, but you've got 5 days of that or 6. We get there the way it was set up. We hunted the first afternoon. They already had the food bought and everything. Of course, Chicago Run is there for 4 straight weeks.
Right.
So everything's all set up. You pull in, you go to that. You're hunting the first afternoon, and it only took me about an hour, and I had my first milled silver. And then that's where I got that particular field. I got 2 bronze Romans off of it, deep.
Nice.
And the food, folks, they've got Italian restaurants. They've got seafood restaurants. They've got, just like he says, if you go all the way into Colchester, they got everything under the sun that you can go get. No, their food isn't as spicy as ours. They gave me, I kind of like to spice up mine. I asked for some hot sauce. She brought me this jelly, put it on there, and then I looked at her. I said, that's like my breakfast jelly.
I know the...
Don't heat to that whatsoever.
Jelly. I know the jelly you're talking about. Yeah, that's nothing.
That's nothing.
Yeah, well, I just... Bangers and mash I can do. And a couple other things, but some of the straight English stuff is, to me, is pretty rough. I don't know.
Just not quite for your palate.
No.
Any of their pudding, what is not pudding you're thinking of, it's generally blood sausage fried, or some of these other substances that they make into pudding. I won't eat that, but the rest of it's okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely advisable to do your research on the cuisine before you go, probably.
So we should probably get back to talking about a day in England here.
Yeah,
a little bit for guys to,
That
so
way
we get
people
the
know
whole-
what they can expect other than the food.
Right. Okay. So next up is, we've been there. Like I said, we hunted till noon. We decided where we're going to move. We're going to go somewhere else. We make that decision and we hunt till everybody agrees we're done, whatever time that might be, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, depend on light levels and whether it's pouring on us. Most people like to quit a little early if it's raining on us. But if you didn't want to hunt that long, that's not really a problem. We've had some guys go that were older and just, this was a bit much. And that's why the van's there for the day. You can go back, take a nap, you can stretch, you can, you have that option there so that you're not interrupting the hunt that the other guys are on. We do, on my hunts at least, we stay together on one farm. It doesn't mean we all have to be on the same field, but it does mean we're all on the same farmer. Again, that's because they get paid based on our half a day at a time per hunter thing. So the end of the day comes. We all pile back in the van. And if we haven't already talked about it, we decide where we're going to have dinner. And we go and do that. And again, it can be anything. Like Chuck's mentioned there, there's all sorts of places to eat. So we do generally do the food on my hunts. We do it on the way back to the barn. Yes, we go walking into takeout places and Pizza Hut or whatever it might be that day, with our digging clothes on and our rubber boots on. We can be quite a menagerie walking through the door. I assure you, but, they're usually pretty glad to see us come in because we spend like drunken sailors when we're in there, and
right.
They like
potential
that.
revenue.
Yeah, it's definitely revenue. And then we all pack it in and either eat right there or we take them with us and head back to our barn and then spread it out on the table and everybody eats. And then the evenings, at least the first couple nights, we all kind of hang around a little bit. People are rotating through showers and stuff like that. My barn's got 3 different bathrooms in it that I use. And so there's 3 people taking showers at once and rotating in and out. And we got TV and all those things. And then, we'll stand around looking at maps, talking about the next day, cleaning finds. And the first few nights, usually we hang out and talk a little bit. But when we get to be 3 or 4 days in, and some of us or most of us are in our 50s or 40s and 50s and so forth, we're tired.
Coming back, hitting the shower, and going to bed.
Pretty much. We're turning in pretty good by the 3rd or 4th day. Just because we know we're all getting up at 6 a.m. again and going to hit it for 8 hours or better again the next day. So that's pretty much a day in the life of being out there. Now let's say, just for instance, somebody might be thinking it, and this could be a girl or a guy thinking it, well, what happens if I got to go to the bathroom when we're in the field? Well, that's why England has hedgerows.
That's exactly right.
Now, one type of go to the bathroom, we might call that number 1, is not much of a problem for the fellas, and I've seen that done without a hedgerow, with a hedgerow, or wherever you want to go, on a big, huge field. Now, the ladies...
I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. One of Ron's things is the second night he makes a big pot of chili at the barn. That did not go well with me. The next day I was talking to the hedgerow.
Yeah. Well, they do this joke about me in England. I've always had this kind of a strange body. Without getting too graphic, when I change things, I don't usually go for a few days. And a few years back, we were all there, and it was raining for days, and we weren't doing that great. And I hadn't gone yet, and we were actually huddled underneath the tailgate on the van was up, and we were under it because it was raining. And I said, well, I feel that it's now time for me to go. And they were all laughing at me, and so I took my shovel and I headed across this short little thing to the woods, and did my piece in the woods. And the moment I finished, the rain stopped.
Of course.
The sun burst out of the clouds, and a rainbow came up out of the woods. This is all true. and we started finding things in this damn field. So ever since then, all my guys always go, "Is it a rainbow yet? Is it a rainbow yet?"
Right? Do you have to go yet?
That's how we know. But the hedgerow. You become accustomed to the hedgerow and the pheasants. And anyway,
some of the fields were closed because of pheasants, because they were allowing pheasant hunting, so they did not want treasure hunters into the pheasant fields. My God, they got pheasants, and they got some of the biggest quail I've ever seen. So I inquired. I like to wing shoot, and at the price to go for a hunt for a day, I was thinking, well, no.
Well, it's definitely hunting is only the wealthy in England. It's the estate guys and stuff. And big business. That's big dollars in England because there's no guns, especially.
My cost would have been £750.
Right. So so more than $1,000. So U.S.
Wow.
Right. Yep. But they do have some pretty pheasants, and they do walk around all the time. I'm almost running them over with the van on a regular basis. You know what?
Literally,
England is a really good time. Virtually any machine will run over there and run well. The ground is extremely neutral. You can hunt with virtually any machine. I mean, without being brand specific. You know, I like to have a machine with some decent speed to it. If you get on a Roman site with a bunch of iron shoe nails and things around, it's nice to have a machine that'll pick in between the nails. You know, some of your older, slower machines will pass right over a find if you got nails. You've all seen people do tests with nails and finds. I do think there's a little advantage to having a machine that's a little speedier. CTX is a terrific machine that I truly enjoyed for years and years and years, but it's not a particularly fast machine. And I do think that the Deus came in there and cleaned up on some of the stuff that even a CTX is not seeing with adjacent targets next to it.
Especially in the iron.
Yes, only in the iron. The rest of the time, not much difference.
Right.
But you know, you could do very well with virtually any machine over there as long as you know it. You don't want to be showing up like we just talked about the day before and taking it out of the box and learning how to use it when you're spending good money on a detecting trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, when you're spending money like that, this is not a learn as you go.
No, it's not. These hunts are very well run. We have a ball. We laugh. We're down to the pub. It's a lot of fun. It's not a tremendous amount of money due to how long it takes unless someone were to drop out of a hunt and they're trying to fill a space. Just the sheer amount of time to get in on these hunts gives you plenty of time to put a deposit in on your hunt and then save up the rest of the money. This year's airline ticket out of JFK, New York, was $465 round trip total.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
And last year it was $520, I think we paid.
This year I paid $700, but I got to jump to Chicago and then interconnect and all that. So it's more from the Midwest. But like you're saying, from the East Coast, you can get some pretty decent deals early. And the hunt was 1,800 or 1,850 on it, and you take a couple 100 pounds with you. It covers all your other costs there, because you're going out to eat some and you're buying a round of drinks. Anybody finds gold, you've got to buy the whole group a round of drinks on this particular barn hunt. So, and then they like to play a game called left, right, center, and I think I funded Ron for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you definitely brought him breakfast. You definitely bought him breakfast this morning, according to Facebook. So, he was thanking that game for paying.
Yes, he was. I told him the high point of my trip was the last night there. I finally won a round of that, and got some of my pounds back.
Yeah. Mike Conaboy there's talking about the hotel. My hunt, we don't use the hotel. We go directly to Heathrow by a certain time on the first day, and we travel directly to the barn, which doesn't cost us anything additional. So there's no hotel money added on.
Right. So for yours, you just need airfare and money for food, stuff like that.
Get there on time. Now now, you know, if you're nervous about, and some people are, about having a flight problem or something like that, then yes, you could fly in the day before, and I'll grab.
And that's what I did.
I'll grab you at the Heathrow Garden Inn, the Hilton Garden Inn at Heathrow, and that's fine too. But it's up to you. I have my guys show up by 10 a.m. Heathrow on the day that we're all getting together, and we go from there, and then we don't all have to spend for a night at the Garden Inn. But if you feel better about it, you can certainly do it that way, so that you're definitely there and not a problem. And you got to pray my flight doesn't get delayed. So, because if I get delayed, then we're definitely waiting for Todd. Because I'm driving the van, boys. So that's the way that part of it works.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what, I drove in England
there.
The first trip I made over there. Rented a car, drove in England, and I thought I did pretty well. I only scared a few of the Englishmen and my wife a couple times, so we did all right.
Yeah, it's, you know, a regular roundabout is no problem, but when you get into the king and queen roundabouts, which are the big circle with then outer circles that feed the inner circles, then it gets your attention.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. That one gets your attention. Plus, you're sitting on the wrong side of the van. It's standard shift, and the shifter's on the wrong side too. That definitely gets you going.
Wow.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot of experiences if you've not been there before.
Yeah, it's very doable. Even if you were only, you know, most people are going to do it once. It is addictive. I'll say that. You know, a lot of my core guys go every single year. But we only go once a year. I run my own business. I can't be going multiple weeks, and I can't be doing the spring and the fall. So we pick one, and we do one, you know, do our trip in the spring is what we usually decide. We like that.
Hey, Todd, what's your best find over there?
I found a medieval, late Saxon, early medieval cross with gold pins at all four corners and in the center. And that's my favorite find, I would have to say. I do not have a gold coin out of Colchester yet. I'm good to find them next to. That's been done, I believe, 5 or 6 times. You walk along chatting with me, both detecting, and then you hit a gold coin right next to me. I'm good.
It's
for
that rainbow effect.
Yeah, it is the rainbow effect, but at least if they find one behind where I've just detected, then I got a problem with that. But other than that, I don't have a problem with Just got to put your coil over it, and it just hasn't been me yet. So.
Well, your time's coming.
Yeah. Ron finds stators. He's found quarter stators and different things like that. He's found it all.
He's a no good gold hog.
Oh, I told him that too, and he said, I found that one. I was about 50 feet from him. He's standing there yakking on the phone, and I cut across.
Oh, was that you that cut in front of him when he was on the phone with Chris and took the coin?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, he's yakking on the phone. He's in my way, so I had to go around, cut in front of him, and I dug that up, and he's yelling at me because I found his gold coin. I went, you stand and talk on the phone all day. You're not going to dig gold.
Yeah, well, that's part of running the barn. You got to take that call every day.
Yeah, he had to talk with Chris, and
I'm sure that one kind of left a mark though, because I know how Ron is with his gold.
He's got 22 gold coins over there.
Yes.
I think he's got enough and can spare one for Chuck.
Yes, he did. There was no doubt about it.
Well, Chuck had to get it for himself, but
yeah,
nice.
It is a good trip, and I highly recommend it to anybody who thinks they can go on the trip. And you got to be able to roll with a punch of rain and wind and different things. And
you sure do.
And I went out for several weeks, day after day, spending 3 to 4 hours just going detecting to get myself in shape, and took plenty of glucosamine for the knees with me. And I actually put myself in shape to do this because I know you're out there 8 hours, 9 hours a day.
Absolutely. I use the treadmill before I go, and I detect like crazy, but then winter hits, and then I'm stuck here. I got the same thing, and our winter's rolling in this week. We're supposed to get snow next couple nights. Oh, the hell with that. Barb, I did get to keep the cross, Barb, yes.
Oh, well. So, but then they had one guy a few years ago, and Ron knows everybody's name, found a solid gold statue.
Yeah, it's a little guy, he's got a Bible in front of him. It's in the Colchester Museum.
Yep, that stayed in the museum, and that was quite a rare find, I guess. Very few of those are known.
I believe he got 17,000 pounds for that.
Oh.
Split, between himself and the landowner.
Still, I'm okay with a split.
Yeah, I want to take it home, but I understand, some of the things, but
something like that I can see. And Dave from California found the torque. He feels it should stay in England too. And I said, and for 4 days he didn't realize what he'd had his hands on. He really didn't. And immediately you're holding on to something that it's treasure. And not many of us get a hold of a piece of treasure like that, or find something that is classed as treasure.
Or use it as a swizzle stick.
There is a difference.
I just cleaned it. That's all I did.
There's coin hunting and relic hunting in the U.S., and there's treasure hunting for galleons and so forth, off the treasure coasts in Florida and other places. But in England, you actively and around you while you're there and previously and knowing what's come off fields, you have a shot at true treasure while you're there, which is...
I wouldn't have dreamed I'd seen anybody dig up a torque.
Right, which is
in my wildest dreams. And
it just goes to show, though, you never know what's going to turn up.
That's right. You don't, Todd, I'm going to back out. Thanks for putting up with me calling in. And you've got a lot of trips under your belt, and anybody that has an interest in it should get a hold of you. And there's others you can get a hold of. Chicago Ron out there. You can and look into these hunts. I'm going to go back and do it again. There's no doubt. Now I'm not I've been to a detective ball. I don't know that I'll go back to a detective ball. That is something like you're pounding the ground, and it brings people from all over Europe, the United States, all over the world, just to get the chance to go on the fields for the reason Todd just told you. You are treasure hunting there. You're not just coin shooting. You're not out digging lead bullets. And I found round ball and stuff from the British Civil War there. I mean, literally, I had a handful of those. And,
yeah, it's serious business. Game on. Be ready to dig.
Be ready to dig, and it's amazing, and it was fun, and it's good to go over and try some of the different foods, that's for sure, and it's a good time. So thanks, guys, and have a great night.
Okay, Chuck. Thank
you, Chuck.
Barbara.
Maybe we'll get together over there sometimes, Todd.
Hey, I'd like to.
Yeah, that'd be a hoot.
I'll see you.
I think
tonight.
You and I could make double rainbows if we had to.
Hey, you gotta do it. You gotta give for the team.
That's right. Bye-bye.
Hey, Barbara is asking about smoking, getting the cartons out. Yes, the guys they bring from the duty-free shops when they hit the airports. They're buying cartons of cigarettes to bring with them or take back in both directions. Yes.
Well, there you go. I guess for those that are interested in that. Also, on your hunts, say like somebody listening tonight is interested in possibly going on one of your barn hunts. You said you plan a year in advance. What is the expected kind of wait time? Like they wouldn't be able to get into the one this spring. Right. When do things open up for, say, 2021?
Well, I keep a running list. It's mostly done by people who are interested sending me an email. I confirm your email and put you on the list.
Okay.
I run my hunts completely on seniority. As I mentioned earlier, I do not do this to make any money. I'm not trying to make money on this, so there's no markup of anything. That's why I'm not cooking your eggs for you in the morning. We all do cold breakfast together, and that part is just how it goes.
Right.
But what you do, if you'd like to possibly go in the future, is you would send an email to me or to the Colchester group online, inquiring about hunts. And in my case, I'll put you on the list. And each year, as I said, I do it completely on seniority. So every person that's been with me all 5 years, they have 5 points already. And if they want to go, one of those people that has all those points wants to go, they're pretty much assured of a spot every year. As long as they keep going, somebody that's been 2 times can't beat a 5. And a 5 is going to go. Now this year, we've got 2 newbies going. I only had 4 of the regulars that wanted to go, and I got 2 guys who are first time going this year. Last year, it was exactly the same. I had 4 of the regulars and 2 new went. Now, each of those new guys from last year, one of them is coming this year. He's a 1 because he's been 1 time. But he would beat any newbie coming in for a spot on the team, if you follow me.
Right.
So I've got 3 guys going that are like 4 times a Ben or more. Then one of last year's newbies is going. He's a 1. And I've got 2 brand new newbies going this year. So it depends on, how many of the previous guys want to go. And that I started doing it that way right from the start, because what comes up is I'll have, 8 people that want to go and only 6 spots. And the only way I could think to be fair was just to flat out just do it on a who'd been before type of deal. Because if you do it otherwise, where it's who said they wanted to go first type of thing, it's just too hard to manage and guys are flat out saying, well, I said I wanted to go last year. And, and it's just too hard to manage.
Right. It sounds like it'd be a logistic nightmare trying to manage it that way. So the way you're doing it sounds like it's definitely a good plan.
Yep. I've got a file that shows every guy that's been and how many times they've been. And gal. We've got some ladies that go. And they just get assigned a number. You've been twice, you're a 2. Or more. And, every 2 out there beats every 1 or a newbie if they want to go. And that's just how we do it. The nice thing is, too, we're just the experienced people who've been, know what the deal is, and they're not going to be disappointed. You hate to see somebody disappointed because you could make it all week and not hit anything you thought you should have found. It doesn't mean it wasn't there. And there
you
were
just
people
didn't
finding
get your coil over it.
Yeah, there were people finding it right next to you, but it just doesn't mean you're going to get one. And as I said, I made it out of there one year without a single hammered coin. I found some terrific Roman coins, and I found some great relics, but I never found a hammered English silver coin.
A trip is not a guarantee if you have expectations.
It's not. And, it's the experience too. Because if you're going to break it down to you must find this or you must find that, it's the wrong way to start. It's like going to pound the ground and saying, I got to find 3 King Georges and a colonial shoe buckle or else this hunt's no good.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is just not the way it is.
This is what could be possibly a once-in-a-lifetime experience for somebody. If you make the trip for the experience and find something, that's icing on top.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. And, we do, every time we go, we find terrific stuff. And that's a fact. One of the newbies last year found 2 gold coins the first day.
Wow.
2.
Wow,
yeah,
what a way to start.
We didn't talk to him for the rest of the week. The rest of the week we didn't talk to him. Yeah.
Wow.
And every time he said something, the rest of the week, we just looked at him and said, shut up, Jay.
Right, we don't want to hear from you. You're done.
You are done. He found his first hammered coin ever, silver hammered English, and 2 gold coins the first morning.
Yeah, that's when you just look at him and say, go to the van.
Yeah, just please go away. Just please go away.
Right,
and,
the rest of us would like to find something.
Yeah, and anybody who's on here that is interested, and I see Barb writing pencil in, you need to send me an email, and I need to acknowledge your email. So go to my website, go to the contact page, and do it. And again, I am not here tonight to sell England hunts. Absolutely not my point. I'm just trying to get some information out there. This is a big topic with detectorists of all different levels and all different skills and so forth. And it's something we all like to talk about because why? It's a tremendous, great, fun thing to do. That's why I'm talking about it tonight.
And you have a lot of fun with it.
Oh, we have a ball. I mean, it's just, the characters are just something else. I mean, it's been some of the most fun I've ever had detecting. It's such a group. And, when it's raining and we're all standing there and there's mud up to our knees and you got 1.5 inches on the bottom of each boot and the bottom of your coil and the wind's blowing and it's raining or it's snowing and you just look at each other and just start laughing underneath you're detecting as you're backing up into the wind.
Right.
It's times like that where believe me, yes, it gets old and you're thinking, this sucks. If I was home, I'd go home. That's right. But you're not. You're in England. It's costing you X amount of money per day. You got to detect. So suck it up, Buttercup. Let's go.
Right. You're maximizing your potential for your finds.
And off we go. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we have kept you on quite some time. Is there anything else that you would like to add about it? Of England hunting? Anything else you think people should know?
I don't think that you should be afraid to do it. It's not cheap, but it's not really that expensive. Let's do the math one more time. My hunt this year was $18.50. Whatever the airfare is from where you live to Heathrow Airport, round trip, you're going to add that in. You're going to add approximately the going rate for 200 pounds, I would say would be a fair number to have some cash in your pocket for the dinners that aren't covered. Other than that, and the postage paying for your finds to come back from England, which is about $25 US. Those are your costs.
Sound bad.
Those are your costs. Now, that may sound like a lot of money for 1 year from now, but realistically, if you were thinking really about going, if you stuck away $40, $50 here and there over the next year and a half, you're there.
Yeah, you've got plenty of time to plan and save for it.
Our deposits for my hunts are due 1st of July.
And what are your deposits?
My deposit is $1,000, 1st of July. Balance is due December 31st or sooner.
Not bad.
We all try to fly together, and we definitely all fly out together, time-wise. Nobody plans any airport, any flight, or anything leaving that involves all of us without talking to me, because mistakes have been made where all of a sudden somebody realizes my flight leaves at this time and the van wasn't going to be there until whatever other time it is. So you got to make sure everybody's on the same page. That's always the biggest fear. And let's say your flight does get screwed up, which does happen and has happened. You get to Heathrow Airport. Colchester is a train ride away. You can get a train from Heathrow Airport to London and from London to Colchester, and I will pick you up in town. So when you get there, we'll come get you.
So there is a contingency for those rare instances.
Sure. 2 years ago, 2 guys couldn't make it on. Their flights got whacked with a big freak snowstorm. And that was, March is still a little sketchy for snow. And they were late, and one took a taxi all the way to Colchester. I wouldn't recommend that.
Oh,
That was pricey. But the other, you can take a train right from Heathrow Airport and get yourself all the way to Colchester. And that money is on you, of course, but it's England. It's not like buying even a train ticket in the U.S. It's much less than you think it might be. And the service is fantastic. And you would roll your piece of luggage and your bag with your detector in it, get on the train, and you're communicating with us on your phone, because if you've got a major phone carrier, Verizon, AT&T, one of the major ones, as soon as you land in England, you get a text automatically. Says, would you like your same phone service to work in England? $10 a day. And you just respond yes, and your phone turns on. There's no fuss, no muss. You have your normal phone number, and you give Todd a call and say, hey, I finally got here. I'll be on this train. I'll be at Colchester train station at this time. And I'll just tell you, we're hunting till 4 or 5 today, but we will come to the train station and get you and bring you to the barn when we're done today. And that's how it would work if all hell broke loose and your way of getting there didn't work. And the other safer way to do it is to do what Chuck did. And what a lot of the barns do is they come a day early and stay overnight at the Heathrow Garden Inn, the Hilton Garden Inn at Heathrow, and then they're already there. They don't have to worry about being late for the pickup. Yeah. The reason I do the pickup the way I do it is that instead of hunting a half a day on that first Saturday, which is what all of them do, they pick up at the Heathrow Garden Inn, not all of them, but one hotel or another. They pick up there Saturday morning, and then they hunt the afternoon session on that first day. Instead of doing it that way, I do it so that we all land and go up to the barn together. It doesn't charge all 7 guys an extra $100 to stay at the Garden Inn overnight. Plus, we hunt the entire day on Saturday, gaining you a full day's hunt instead of a half a day hunt. That's why I do it.
That's a good point.
That's why I do it that way, so that we're saving the $100 a man for your hotel rooms, plus you're gaining a half a day's hunting. It's a winner. It's a good way to do it. And that's just my take on it. As Chuck mentioned, there's 5 other barn leaders there. So you can go to Colchester. You can stay in what's called full board, where the guy that actually runs Colchester's family runs a full house. It's a bed and breakfast, essentially. And every morning you'll get up and they'll have breakfast waiting for you on the table. Full English breakfast. And every night when you get back from detecting, they'll have dinner on the table. Fantastic food, too. But the drawback to that is you're in a field without a van all day, which I didn't like. I did it my first trip there. And, if it's raining, okay, it's raining. He'll be back at 5. It doesn't matter if it's 11 o'clock when it starts pouring or, whatever it is. There's no van. And you can get to the other side of the tree like Chuck did or whatever, but that's the drawback of full board. The other thing is your hours, not always, but in most cases, are going to be a little less for your hours on the field. Now, that might be okay with you, but the barns usually hunt longer hours than the full board hunts. And,
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but we definitely like the mobility of having the van with us at all times. So, anyway, one of the barn leaders, Minnesota Mindy, she's a fantastic cook. I've not been on one of her hunts, but the guys rave about the food she puts out. And she just cooks her ass off while they're over there, and she runs a hell of a barn too. So my way is not the only way. It's just that I couldn't boil spaghetti if I had to. You don't want me cooking for you, and I'm not going to. So that's why I run a cold kitchen, and we eat out. And to be honest with you, I don't want to cook when I'm on vacation. I can't imagine anybody who would, but Mindy likes to.
I mean, that cuts your hunting time
cooking
down.
It definitely does, but that's part of what I accept. That's part of the deal for me not having to technically pay the landowner part of my hunt. I pay right along with everybody else for everything else, but just not the hunt thing I'm not assessed for because I'm doing all the driving and taking care of everybody getting places.
Right.
That's just how
a guide of sorts.
You are. The barn leader is your guide, and your barn leader has more information about the fields we're hunting and where we're going. And if the guys are really kind of making a mistake, I think, about where everybody's decided they want to go the next day, then I'll chime in and say, I really think we ought to be over here, not over there. But, we'll hit that later in the week or something like that. I'll chime into that type of thing. Most of the guys, pretty much, except for the ones that have been multiple times, they don't really even get involved in the day-to-day pick a field because it's just, they don't know where they're going anyway. So they'd rather have a person who's been say, let's go here or let's go there.
Right. We don't want to deal with all of that. You just put us in the spot and we'll hope to get our coil over it.
Exactly. And it's the smart play because what are you going to say? Yes, I definitely want to hunt field number 78. Really? Why? Oh, no, I just have a feeling. 78. That's the one.
Right. It's my favorite number.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, I understand. Right. Definitely.
Yep.
Well, I think that covers it all then, and once again, you have been an absolute wealth of information.
Well, you can't shut me up without vast effort, Josh, as you've proven. So, that's just the way it is.
Well,
I love to talk metal detecting, and I thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I was going to say, once again, it has been just an absolute pleasure. I'm sure that people in the chat were enjoying it. We got some great calls. I think we got some great information out there. And, I can't help but think we haven't heard the end of Connecticut Todd. I'm sure you'll be back again sometime on the show.
Well, maybe I'll find something that we'll have to talk about sometime. How about that? I'm still looking just like all of you, everybody. We look. That's
exactly.
What we do.
That's what we do. We search, and if we're lucky, maybe we even find.
All right. Let's do that. Let's find.
That sounds like a great plan to me. Hang in there with me for a couple minutes, Todd, and we'll get out of here.
Okay.
For everyone else, definitely, that was Connecticut Todd. I dropped his link for his website in the show chat a few times. It is also in the show description and will carry along to the YouTube archive as well and everywhere else that the podcast propagates. If you enjoyed the show, make sure and throw us a like right here. Make sure and leave a thanks in the chat for Todd taking the time that he did and sharing all the information that he had to share with us tonight. And don't forget the great Metal Detecting Kids Christmas giveaway that we are still taking donations for. Gonna be a good time. We're gonna make a lot of kids happy again this year. Until the next time, folks, we gotta roll. Get out there and try to find something if you can. And I guess I've got to go and try to figure out how I'm going to explain why I'm snickering so much the next time I see a rainbow. Have a wonderful evening, folks. We're out of here.